First things first, thank you so much for allowing me to be here and to be a part of something that's so special to me and to the Black legal community everywhere. I am incredibly honored and humbled to be speaking to all of you this morning. And today I want to speak specifically to the law students because that's my current lived experience as a 3L at Penn. And my perspective on Black hair in legal spaces is largely informed by my time in law school. And as you are maybe aware, only 7.94% of law students in the US are Black. So a huge congratulations to all of you listening to this and for showing up to class every day. I know it's hard. I have a final tomorrow, but you are worthy, you are necessary, and just know that you are a certified change maker. So through my studies and through my experiences, I found that all that we're talking about today really comes down to this. The legal profession, which puts adherence to, quote, the Black letter law on a pedestal, must make room for Blackness. And as it stands, this hair growing from my scalp is a legal battleground. And it's one that I knew was contentious even before I knew how to multiply numbers. My hair journey, like many other Black women, was not linear. Dare I say it was curly, which is a bad joke, but I had to do it. I spent a lot of my childhood cursing my hair texture. I grew up in a majority white community in the South where the people around me had what I used to call good hair. And it was hair that grew in a straight line and seemed to cooperate in all environments. It was the kind of hair that I thought I wanted. So I took the route that many Black women do. I got a relaxer to chemically alter my hair starting around the age of 12, and I begged my mom to let me do it. So it kind of went like this. Every couple of months, I saw Melinda, my hairstylist, and every couple of months, I sat in her salon chair coming out of it with burns on my head. And I did this for almost 10 years of my life. And I did this not for the ease of running a comb through my hair or because I liked the straight hair that resulted from the process. I did this because it's what I felt like I had to do in order to be accepted as a Black woman living in America. And I continued to mechanically relax my hair well into my 20s because I had been told that my natural hair was not professional. And it's this word professional that I later came to realize has been weaponized as a term of art, excusing discriminatory behavior in workplace settings. And when it comes to Black hair, the subjective nature of professionalism is deployed as a vehicle for the oppression of expression. And this is not something that I came in knowing. It's a lesson that I had to learn. When I stepped into my first role at a law firm, I was scared. I was the normal amount of nervous for starting a new job, but there was that added layer, that added pressure of my hair. What was I going to do with it? What impression did I want to make? Was my natural hair going to leave a bad taste in my employer's mouth? Would my colleagues judge me? Would this somehow affect my lawyerliness? These were the questions swirling around in my head as I looked at myself in the mirror prepping for the first day. That day, I was wearing my hair pinned back in its natural state. And it's these kinds of questions that young people, the next generation, should not have to ask themselves. But unfortunately, this is the way the world has conditioned Black people to look at themselves. And I was not, and I am not immune to those externalities. In fact, these negative perceptions of Black hair and the adverse consequences that come with it have been codified into a regulatory scheme which affirm my first day fears. In the workplace, employers are allowed to set grooming standards or dress codes that have a disproportionate discriminatory effect on employees of color, particularly Black employees. This is why my hair, our hair, in its natural state of being, just doing what it do, is political. And in 2006, the EEOC, who I did work for a time, detailed in its compliance manual on race and color discrimination that employers are permitted to pass grooming standards as long as, quote, racial differences are taken into account and rules are applied equally across racial lines. This guidance, however, does not disallow employers to impose standards of neatness, meaning that employers can demand that Black hairstyles are groomed in certain ways. In addition, the EEOC rules still leave the door open for courts to make their own judgments in this realm. So in many ways, This established culture of disfavoring Black hairstyles comes back to the employer and back to cultural norms. What many non-Black people in positions of power at employing institutions fail to understand is the significance, both culturally and practically, that hairstyles such as cornrows, dreadlocks, braids, twists, and Bantu knots hold within their designs. On the historical front, the stigmatization of Black hair was implemented as a device to justify the horrors of slavery and colonization. This we know. On the earlier side of the 20th century, straightening tools and chemical products for Black hair were en vogue, as was the suppression of Black communities. In the 60s came the natural hair movement, where Black activists sported their hair textures as a political emblem of resistance. And today, hair continues to be an outward statement that fights for the anti-disenfranchisement of Black people in America. But these hairstyles are not intensely personal because of history alone. They're also about lifestyle and day-to-day wear. In terms of practicality of these hairstyles, Black hair demands protection due to the texture of Black hair, including the curl's tightness and elasticity. It's more likely to experience damage when not properly cared for. Thus, hairstyles such as braids and locks serve as protective styles, which lower physical manipulation of the hair and promote hair health. And all these things together, history and practicality, should be more than sufficient to the legal profession to recognize and appreciate the beauty, the individuality, and the validity of Black hair. Halfway through my 1L summer at a law firm, I bit the bullet and I showed up to work in braids rather than my usual bun. And it was me, it's part of who I am, and it's not something that I should ever have to explain. So earlier this year, as Angela's talking about, I published a piece about my experience with wearing braids in the legal workplace. And there's a part of that article that I want to leave you with. And it goes like this. The truth of the matter is that braids are compatible with the legal profession. In fact, they are extremely reminiscent of the important qualities of a great lawyer. Braids outwardly convey strength and resilience, especially when it comes to the lived experience of Black women. Our curl patterns create a stronghold for the braided hair to attach to in such an enduring manner as to last through the wear and tear of life. And that's just what Black women are, enduring. I am proud to be able to show up to work and be myself. To be anything else would be to be disingenuous. And I refuse to let the fear of criticism hold me back. And I challenge each of you, particularly the law students, to do the same. We are literally the change that this industry needs. So thank you all for listening, and thank you to the organizers, Angela, of this amazing conference for creating this space. If anyone wants to talk further, please reach out. Otherwise, have a great afternoon.